Hi friends! Today I thought I'd start making a series of paintings that I've been wanting to do for forever. The theme of this series is magic and the mundane. So I want to capture magic within an everyday setting, something you'd see on a daily basis that you would normally just walk by. And that's kind of the idea that I've got. And so I have less than a month to submit 5 different entries for an upcoming exhibition in a society that I'm a part of. And so I thought I could make those 5 pieces within that time frame and film the process and take you guys along with me. Hopefully I can share any value or tips or tricks as I work on these pieces, and yeah, I hope it's interesting.
First, I start by sketching in all of the lines and angles that I see. This is very rough at the beginning, and I get more and more exact with each iteration. I have the reference photo that I'm working from on my iPad, and it's mounted right at my eye level so that it's easy to reference. For this specific piece, I decided to use a square composition. If you can see the reference photo, it is rectangular. I think it's a 4:5, whatever the innate dimensions are within the iPhone camera. But since I wanted to focus on more lighting and use abstract shapes, I decided to use the square format because the square composition really lends itself to abstract shapes. And now that I have the line drawing complete, I go in and block in the big color shapes and add in nuance as I go. At this point, I try not to focus on any details and just work the whole scene all at once. It's important not to get too detailed in one area and to add color all over the paper, because color doesn't exist in a vacuum. You're constantly comparing a color and the color next to it. And you do this with value as well. And as you're working, it's so important to keep that one thing that drew you to the scene at the front of your mind. It's what you want to focus on, and if a detail doesn't support that theme, then exclude it. But keep in all the details that support this theme. What got me to take out my camera and take a picture of this scene was definitely the reflected light from the pool bouncing onto the top of the wall of the house, right underneath the roof. I just thought it was so magical in the early morning light. So because the lighting is my main theme, I want to keep in all the detail that supports the time of day, so the early moon with the rising sun and that little sliver of blue across the bottom of the canvas to indicate that there's a pool reflecting the light onto the wall of the house. Now I'm beginning to add some darks and some lights just to get a gauge of the color and the light and shadow of the whole scene. Now that I have the overall value and color structure in place, I'm going in and adding details where they add to the theme that I'm trying to evoke. I've been loving the Terry Ludwig Intense Darks 2 color set. It's been really helpful with getting in the darkest darks. And again, I'm always comparing one value to another, one color to another, and seeing where they lie between the lightest lights and darkest darks. I want the viewer to see that everything in the picture is in shadow, so the lightest light should be the sky and the moon especially, but I want to make sure that everything else falls within the shadow range. Here you can see I'm adding in a tree in the background, and I quickly realized that this is not doing anything to add to the composition. In fact, it's creating a weird tangent with the roof, so I decided to erase the tree with a bristle brush and paint over it with the sky. That's actually a little secret tip when you're working with Carte. If you've saturated the tooth too much and you decide to change your mind and you don't like what you've put down on the paper, you just erase with a brush and it will knock off most of the pigment to where the tooth is free and able to be saturated with different color. Another reason why this tree isn't working is because it's in an area where a darkest dark meets a lightest light, and so it immediately just draws your eye to this area, especially with all of the sky holes as details. It just really isn't working for this composition. Here's where I take the brush, erase, and then paint over it with the sky color. And although it's not completely covered yet, I'm going to go over it with some of the cloud color. But you immediately just breathe a sigh of relief with that tree gone. See? So much better. And now with the tree gone, my eye's immediately drawn to the darks of the clouds. They are too dark, so I go in with a lighter color and soften all of those shadows under the clouds. This is a bit of a longer process as you are constantly pushing and pulling two different colors to make sure that the edges of the clouds aren't too harsh. And here I'm continuing to soften the edges of the clouds. It's important that the edges aren't harsh so that they fall back into the sky. From this point on, I continue to refine the edges and all of the color transitions. Here is the finished piece. Overall, I really like it. I may continue to refine the edges a little bit further, but I think I really captured the theme that I had in mind. I really love the reflected color from the pool up on the wall and just the overall sleepiness of it. Anyway, that is one down and 4 more to go. Thank you for watching.